Brothers and sisters, we're coming to the close of our season, our Advent season, and our journey together, thinking about worshiping a hidden God, speaking about the different dynamics and really important elements of the spiritual life. And tomorrow we'll move towards this key that we've been speaking about, this secret key to understanding this tension in the spiritual life between consolation and yet sorrow, times of sorrow and heaviness of heart. And we spoke about this importance of striving for a deep interior life. And we spoke about how this interior life passes through nights and beautiful days. And so today we want to speak about this perfection of this interior life is the perfection of love, because God is endless love. God's nature and his life is that of love. And so holiness is really our life of God's love. God's life of love. Mother Teresa of Calcutta would say that holiness is really an excess of love. So God is an superabundant, infinite excess of love, you could say. But God exists in a whole other order of being. He transcends the universe. Divinity is nothing like anything we see. Maybe his creation can speak to us about certain things about God because God created it, but to come to know the very essence of God, that's for the life of heaven. However, God has chosen to show his face to us in Jesus Christ, and we're celebrating this incredible revelation in the birth of Jesus in Christmas, that divine love has now expressed itself with a human heart, you could say, in Christ and through Christ's life. So we can see something. So when we understand God's love for us so far on earth, we look at Jesus's life to see what that love is. And of course, that love is fully revealed to us in his passion that he willingly took to save us. There's no greater love than to lay down your life for your friends. And Jesus said that as a depiction of his love and his interiorness, because he called us friends and laid down his life for us. Now, the perfection of this interior life that we want to grow in is the perfection of first of all, our love for God and our love for neighbor. Because Christ commanded us, if you love your neighbor, you'll love God. And so there's the hallmark of Christians, love. Love is patient, love is kind, love is gentle, love is never boasting, love doesn't fret, love makes excuses for others in their problems. Love is to do things that go against the grind of our self-pleasure, do difficult things for others, to inconvenience ourselves for others, to sacrifice for others. And so, first of all, this love of God speaks about the ultimate end of what we will call the contemplative life. So as Christians, we straddle two things, the contemplative life as well as the active life. And so when the active life, which involves our neighbor, when that flows out of the contemplative life, which is about God, about contemplating God in prayer and goodness and just loving God above all things, when our active life, our love for neighbor flows out of the contemplative love of God, then we call that the apostolic life. So apostolic life, in its really rich way, is this love flowing from contemplation that we're all called to. We're all called to contemplate, be contemplatives in the middle of the world in our life. Every Christian is called to the heights of an intense union with God and with Christ. And so when we think of God and his beauty and we withdraw from the crowds and from the circumstances of life to just focus with a single gaze of faith on God's presence, that he is there, that he sees me, he knows me, and that he's looking at me right now. Say, God, you see us, you know us, you're hearing our voice. And we know that you're speaking to us in our heart. This awareness, this faith, then fuels the heart with hope and joy. And God infuses his love when we make contact with him. Then we could go out and love the world and bring that love and have more of an impact. Sometimes we will be dry, feeling empty. We feel overcome by the ways of the world. But because we're in contact with God in prayer, you might get people being really then touched by you the most when you're in these moments. It's like Jesus on the cross. He's going through the greatest desolation in his humanity and dying, and yet he is the most fruitful. He gives us an image that touches our hearts the most. And so a priest was just telling me recently that he was completely abandoned, feeling very lonely in a sort of a spiritual stage of his spiritual life. And yet all these miracles, all these other things were happening around him. People were saying, Father, you said this, it really transformed me. And yet he was feeling dead with Christ. But since then he's experienced great resurrection. But we must pass through this sorrow to be crucified with Christ so that new life will be released. You know, some event comes to us in our life that puts us on the cross with Jesus in a unique way, and maybe sometimes it happens again and again, but it's immensely fruitful. So brothers and sisters, tomorrow we're going to speak about this key, about what we've been trying to talk about with the spiritual life, and how to understand something. It will help us to navigate better sometimes these experiences of moving between sorrow and joy. And I'm really looking forward to sharing that key, that secret with you that Archbishop Martinez wants to share with us. May the Lord bless you.